Hi, today for this Teach Me lesson, we're going to talk about why it is important to round numbers and estimate. The objectives are to discuss the why rounding is important, to learn a strategy for rounding numbers to the nearest 10 or 100. Why do we round numbers? Rounding makes numbers easier to understand, makes numbers easier to use with other operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. It helps us with estimating, and you use it when you're not looking to be exact. So let's begin. We're going to round the number 53 to the nearest 10. So we begin by underlining the digit that we're rounding, which is the 5, which is in the tens place. The number directly to the right, we're going to put a box around it. This is our rounding number. This number tells us whether we round up or we round down. We're now going to look at the tens place, or the 5, to determine our benchmark numbers. We know that since 50 or 5 is in the tens place, that our number cannot be rounded no lower than 50. And that 53 is between 50 and 60, which will be the next 10 place value. We're going to create a small number line, and then we're going to count 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Now, I oftentimes direct my students to remember what the midpoint is. 55 would be the midpoint. It is between, exactly in the middle of 50 and 60. Now, traditionally, we've been taught that if it's 5 or more, we go to the higher number, and if it's 4 or less, we go to the lower number. Creating this number line gives our students a visual of where 53 will fall on a number line. So we begin to count. We start at 50, 51, 52, 53. We're going to put a dot right here to indicate that we're on 53. Then I will have my students calculate or count the number of jumps it takes to get to each place value. Let's see how far 53 is from 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It took 7 jumps to get to 53. So now let's try the other way. Let's see how far 53 is from 50. 1, 2, 3. 3 jumps. So now we will determine whether 53 is closer to 50 or 60 by whichever side has the least amount of jumps. As we can visually see, as well as see through our jumps, 53 is closer to 55. It's closer to 50, I'm sorry. Let's try another example. Now we have 46. We're going to round 46 to the nearest 10. Again, we're going to underline the 4, which is in the tens place. We're going to put a box around the 6, which is in the ones place. This 6 is my rounding number. It tells me whether or not I'm going to go up or down. Now we understand that because 4 or 40 is in the tens place, our number cannot round no lower than 40. The next 10 place value would be 50. We're going to create a number line, and we're now going to count 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Again, it always helps to have the students identify the midpoint, which would be 45. I then tell them any number that is greater than 45 rounds to 50. Any number that is less than 45 would round to 40. So, but here, let's find where 46 falls on our number line. So we will begin to count 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. Notice here visually 46 is in the middle. If students try to visually use the number line to round the numbers that fall in the middle will distract them. This is where students have to pay attention and have to know the rounding rules. The rounding rules that says any digit that is 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 will always round to the lower number. Any digit in the box or our rounding number that consists of 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 will round up to the higher value. As we can see, 6 is the rounding number, and although it's in the middle, it still rounds up. So we will still calculate our jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 jumps to the right, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 jumps to the left. So we tell our students the side that has the fewest amount of jumps is where you will round to. Therefore, 46 rounds to 50. Let's try one more example. Now we're rounding not a 2-digit number, but a 3-digit number. Again, we underline because we're the tens place value, which this time, in this case, will be the 1. Again, the number directly to the right still gets a box around it and is our rounding number. Rounding 3-digit numbers can be tricky because students will oftentimes forget that it's a 3-digit number. When creating our benchmark numbers, we have to remember that this is a 3-digit number. So 216 is between what two tens places? Well, because 10 is in the, or 1 is in the tens place value, we know that it's between 10 and 20, but not just 10 and 20, but 210, 220. Please make sure that your student or your child does not simply write 10 and 20 because this is a 3-digit number. Again, we create our number line and we simply count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again, just as practice, it's always good habit to ask the student, what would the midpoint number be? In this case, it will be 215. You can point out to them that anything greater than 215 would round to the higher number. Anything lower than 215 will round to the lower value. So we begin to count 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We find that 216 is here on our number line. As we count our jumps, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 jumps to the right. And it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 jumps to the left. We can see that it took only 4 jumps to reach 220. Therefore, 216 rounds to 220. Traditionally as well, we know that because 6 is our rounding number, anything 5 or more will always round to the higher value. Let's do one more example. This example tends to be tricky, can be the tricky one. So let's look at this 3-digit number that we're still rounding to the nearest 10. Again, we're going to underline this tens place, which is 0. That 0 is a placeholder which says that there is no value in the tens place. Again, the number directly to the right, you put a box around. It is our rounding number. It tells us whether we go up or down. The benchmark numbers here can be tricky because students have to think about place value and have to remember numbers. They have to think, what would 4 be between, or what would 104 be between? Since there is no value here, we know that it would round down to 100. And since we're going by tens, to add 10 more to 100, it would be 110. This can be tricky for students to remember. So constantly rehearse that just like 4 is between 0 and 10, 104 will be between 100 and 110. After finding the benchmark numbers, we simply create another number line: 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110. We simply put our locate 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, where our 104 will be on the number line. And just as always, count the number of jumps. If we jump to the right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 jumps. If we go to the left, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 jumps. Because it only took 4 jumps to reach 100, we round down to the lower value. So 104 is closest to 100. We will now try another example which can sometimes be tricky for students. Numbers such as numbers that are close to the next 100 value or the next place value can be difficult for students to remember, especially when trying to find the benchmark numbers. Again, we underline our tens place value, which is 9 or 90, and we box in our 7, which is in the ones place. This is our rounding number. Remind the students, what is the value of this 9? It is 90, not 9. And what comes after 90, if you're going to skip counting by tens, it will be 100. The most difficult part is finding the benchmark numbers. Once they are found, we simply create a number line: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We simply create a number line, locate where it falls, and calculate the jumps. 97, if we go to the right, is 1, 2, 3. 3 jumps. If we go to the left, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 jumps. Because it only took 3 jumps to reach 100, we round 97 to 100. At this time, I will put the video on pause and allow your child to practice these numbers now. Here are the correct answers. 12 would round to 10. 78 would round to 80. 342 would round to 340. 345 would round to 350. 207 would round to 210. And 1,235 would round to 1,240. We will conclude this Teach Me video with an EOG practice. I am going to read the question now. Jamie has $34 and Alicia has $126. About how much money do they have in all? Students now are expected to be able to not only round the numbers, but determine which operation to use. So, if you would like to try this on your own, I will pause the video now and then try it on your own, and then I will show you how to solve. Let's solve the problem. Jamie has $34, while Alicia has $126. We notice here that visually the word about is in bold. Typically, when students see the word about, they're asking for an estimate. They're asking you to round. I normally tell my students to write a thinking note to themselves and say round or estimate. They're not looking for an exact answer. How much money do they have in all? Whenever you are looking for something in all, it typically means that they want you to add. So now I notice that there are going to be two steps in this problem. I'm going to round and I'm going to add. I simply will create what I call a T-chart. This is just to organize our thoughts and our work. So we will write at the top, round and add, so that we know what steps we're doing. We're going to round 34 to the nearest 10. We underline our tens place, put a box around our rounding number. We know since 3 or 30 is in the tens place, 10 more after 30 would be 40. We create our number line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We find 34 on our number line and know that 34, if we go to the left, is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 jumps to the left, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jumps to the right. Therefore, 34 rounds to 30. Be sure to tell students that just because they round one number does not mean that they're done. We must now round the next number, 126. 126, we underline the tens place. We know that since 2 is in the tens place value, or 20, this has to be 120 and then 130. We simply create our number line again, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Now, we locate where 126 will be on the number line, and we calculate our jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 jumps to the right, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 jumps to the left. So we can see, because it only took 4 jumps to get to 130, 126 rounds to 130. I tend to have my students circle the answers in step 1 so that they know what numbers they're using in step 2. Now that we're in step 2, because we know that we're adding, we're going to take 130 plus 30, line them up. 0 plus 0 is 0. 3 plus 3 is 6. And we carry down our hundreds place. We know that Jamie and Alicia together had $160. Thank you for your time. This is the conclusion of our Teach Me video.